Hello and happy 2018 everyone. As last year was definitely a year of improvement for me, at least art-wise, I thought I'd show you today my second go at the Draw This Again challenge. This is actually a painting or remake I started at the end of last May, so over half a year ago, and it's taken me ages to finish it. I struggled quite a bit, especially with the colour scheme and the clouds. But it's finally ready, which is great, and now I'm able to show you what I did. The original piece was done back in 2010, and at the time I was very proud of it. It took me only a few hours to finish, and it was my very first fully digital painting, meaning that I didn't have a pencil sketch or anything. It was all done in Photoshop, which was very new to me. And in all fairness, considering my, at the time, current skill level, it was a decent painting for me. But it does look pretty horrific, doesn't it? With all the problem areas, it's a never-ending disaster, I mean, to be fair. But in my defense, I knew it even back then, so I just gave up on it, I think, and thought BS and just posted it online. But yeah, all in all, this is definitely not a masterpiece in any way. Don't draw like the 16-year-old me, just don't do it, folks. It won't work. To improve and learn from your mistakes, you have to understand what you did wrong, and this time I divided the, in my opinion, the major problem areas into 5 parts. To anatomy, colour scheme, lack of contrast, hair, and the fact that the background doesn't connect with the character. And keeping these things in mind, I started to create the remake. So the wrong anatomy on the original piece definitely pops out, at least for me. It is full of basic beginner mistakes, I think. If you look at the face, it's very two-dimensional with the symbols for the eye and the lips and the nose, and the eyebrow looks just odd. The forehead looks a bit weird, and the proportions are just way off, and especially the neck, it's so ridiculously wide and strong, and it doesn't correlate with the rest of the body at all. The chest area is really odd. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I think I remember being very proud of the breasts. It was the first time I drew them, I think, and you can see what they're trying to be, but that's it. And also that rib cage. I mean, I have no clue what is going on with her waist and tummy. I mean, and the lack of hands, I mean, it's obvious that I wasn't able to draw hands at the time, so I did not draw them. They're kind of supposed to vanish into the cloud, but it just, it simply looks as they're just missing. With the new piece, I tried to create a fuller figure with, reasonable proportion. It's still a bit stylized. It's not completely realistic, to be fair, but it's way better than the original version. The original colour scheme was very limited. I used only blues and that very greenish yellow ribbon as a beauty spot. Also, almost all the colours, excluding the base colour of the hair, are very light, so it's very hard to read. With the new version, it took me actually months to find the right colour scheme. I tried everything, and I looked for reference pictures online forever, and I really liked the sketch, and then I went into the colours and was like, I almost gave up. But I was finally able to find this really nice balance between blues and kind of yellows, so I was, at least in the beginning, utilising complementary colours. Everything's very muted though. And for beauty spot, I used the red ribbon this time. I thought the red worked really well as a rich colour with all the muted tones around it. I already mentioned that the colours were all very light in the original piece, and because the values are so close to each other, it is really hard to read. And this is a very common beginner mistake, which results into people or artists relying on line work, which in my case was not very good. I mean, I still suck at drawing pretty line work, and in this particular case, it definitely isn't neatly done. And because the piece lacks in shadows, I mean, I tried, which is this was an improvement for me. I did try, and drawing at least like very, very light shadows. So they are there, but they are barely noticeable, and they definitely don't do what they're supposed to do and give the character or make the character look three-dimensional. So it's very 2D. The only dark spot or part is the base colour of that hair. It's so bad. It's so unbelievably bad. Never ever draw hair like that, people. Never ever do it. I mean, this is the kind of hair that you end up with when you read tons of tutorials on DeviantArt and you try to do it step by step and you just end up frustrated and realizing that it's definitely not working for you. I mean, it has the dark base color like they tell you to do, the midtones, and I suppose the whites are supposed to be highlighted. This hair is done so badly, and that braid, what is it supposed to be? Braids can be hard, they take a little practice. However, it is corrected with the new hair, which I really like. I mean, it's very, very stylized, definitely not necessarily super realistic, but I really like it. I think it fits the whole piece very well. I mean, it's really dynamic and sort of full of power and energy. I really like it. Last but not least, the background doesn't connect with the character in the original piece at all. I mean, it looks like they're two separate things that I just put in together. I think one of the major things is that I used to draw everything on a different layer. I mean, the clouds are on one layer, I think the shadows of the clouds are on a different layer, then there's the body, line work, kind of shadows, then the hair has all the different layers and you know, it goes on. With the new one, it definitely is much more of a complete piece. Although, to be honest, because it took me half a year to finish the piece and the character was painted before I finished the clouds, they do look a bit different. I mean, and the character is a little bit more stylized and not so realistic as the clouds are at least trying to be. All in all, the remake is definitely a much more cohesive and dynamic piece. There's still room for improvement, of course, there always is. But yeah, for the time being, I'm really happy with it. I don't know. Maybe we'll just wait for the next 8 years and see what happens then. But this is it for today. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!